we were hearing during Kartik and also beyond Kartik, Srila Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrita with the commentary of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura and Prabhupada. And then we also decided that we will also read Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's elaborate explanation of the 6 faults. They will destroy devotion based on 2nd verse of Upadeshamrita, and 6 qualities which will nourish devotion, that is based on 3rd verse of Upadeshamrita. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote 12 essays in his Sajjan Toshani magazine, and that was later published as a book, Bhaktyaloka, that which illuminates devotion. So 6 faults that destroy bhakti. First one, Atyahara. In Upadeshamrita, written by Rupa Goswami, this verse is written, Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha jana sangascha laulyam cha sarabir bhaktir vinashyati. These 6 destroy bhakti. Atyahara, prayasa, prajalpa, niyamagraha, janasanga, and laulya. It is very necessary to deliberate on the deep meaning of this verse. He who is engaged in sadhana of pure bhakti must especially observe the instruction of this verse. He who does not endeavor to observe the instructions will find bhakti to the Lord very difficult to attain. To help the person who has a strong desire for attaining pure bhakti, I will clarify the meaning of this verse. 6 factors which obstruct bhakti are mentioned in the verse. Atyahara, prayasa, prajalpa, niyamagraha, jnana sanga, and laulya. I will deliberate on each of these 6 subjects separately. In this small chapter, the meaning of the word Atyahara will be discussed. Many people think that the word Atyahara only means overeating. Actually, it is not so. In the 1st verse of Upadeshamrita, it is written, Vacho vegam, manasah krodha vegam, jihva vegam, udaropasta vegam, etan vegan yo vishaheta dhira, sarvam apimam prithivim sa shishyat. The serious person who with determination can tolerate the urges of speech, mind, anger, the tongue, the stomach, and genitals can teach the whole world. In this verse, the urge of the tongue is desire to taste foods, and the urge of the stomach is the desire to eat excessively. If one takes the word Atyahara to mean eating too much, there would occur the fault of repetition in a work which is meant to gather the essence in summary. This Upadeshamrita is concise, in concise form, Rupa Goswami wrote. So here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, already in 1st verse, it was stated, one should tolerate the urge of belly, which is overeating. Then why again Atyahara is repeated here? It would be repetition if there is not some other purpose. Thus, the learned reader must search for another meaning of the word, written by most profound Rupa Goswami. The primary meaning of ahara is eating, but the word eating or bhojan in Bengali also means to enjoy, bhog, material objects by the five senses. The eye enjoys form, the ear enjoys sound, the nose enjoys fragrance, the tongue enjoys taste, and the skin enjoys softness or hardness, warmth or coolness, etc. So Atyahara does not mean only taking food. It means through all five senses we are taking the objects of the senses. This type of material enjoyment is unavoidable for a jiva endowed with material body. Without the enjoyment of material objects, the jiva cannot maintain his material existence. When the jiva gives up enjoying objects, he immediately gives up the body. It is not possible to survive if you totally reject all kinds of sense enjoyment, food or anything. Thus, giving up material objects is simply a mental concept and can never be implemented. Means like totally giving up all material objects. That is mental concept and can never be implemented, applied for a conditioned soul. Krishna teaches as follows to Arjuna in Gita. Nahi kaschit kshanam api jatu tishtati akarma krit karyate hyavasha karma sarva prakriti jair gunai. No one can remain without doing activity, even for a moment. All are forced to engage in action by attraction and repulsion arising from their natures. Yesterday we heard Prabhupada was telling attraction and repulsion, raga and dvesha, what we want and what we don't want in relation to this material world, and all according to their natures they have these things. Like one who is in tamoguna, he has different likings than someone who is in satyaguna. Krishna told about foods, what kind of food sattvic people like, what kind of food tamasic people are. So according to your nature, you will have raga and dvesha. So, and no one can be idle even for a moment. Everyone doing something. They are forced by gunas, by nature, and this attraction and repulsion. We want certain thing, we give effort to get it, and we don't want to encounter certain things, so we try to avoid it. Like there is cold, we go away from there. Or so many other examples can be given. Karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mityachara sauchate. Also from Gita. He who, controlling the action senses, remains remembering those objects of the senses in his mind, is bewildered and is called a pretender. You know, from Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna, someone may think I will stop all my senses, but inside his mind he's thinking that desire is not gone. So he's called pretender. Our Gurudev told during Ekadashi, we fast, don't eat, but that does not mean the desire to eat is gone. Next day they will eat double, brahmacharis. Like that, only restricting the senses from sense objects, one will not attain actual vairagya. Unless one gets higher taste, it is impossible to actually be to give up those enjoyments. So Krishna says, and he knows because he's inside heart, outwardly he is like renounced. but inside he's thinking. Like that Falgu river, we don't see outside, but little you take away earth, you will find water immediately, because that river is just below. But from outside you see like sand. As the body cannot be maintained without activity, to maintain life, activity is necessary, karma. However, if this activity is done with a bahirmukha, that is materialistic mentality, or like averse to the service of Krishna, bahirmukha, if this activity to maintain life is done with a materialistic mentality, one gives up human status and becomes animalistic. We heard on that day, I think in relation to Krishna Keshav Brahmacharya. So human beings are those who accept dharma. If they don't accept dharma, they are like animals. It is statement of Shastra. It is statement by God himself. Thus, if one can make activities of the body favorable to bhakti, bhakti yoga manifests. The Lord says, Natyashnata stu yogosti na chaikantam anashnata nachati swapna shilasya jagrato naiva charjuna jukta hara viharasya jukta cheshtasya karmasu jukta swapna va bodhasya yoga bhavati dukhaha. From Gita. By excessive eating, under eating, excessive sleeping, and undersleeping, yoga does not occur. Someone eats too much or too less also, or sleeps too much and too less, and yes, but a person attains perfection in yoga by regulated eating, regulated action, regulated sleep, regulated waking. One second. Yes. Then further, Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyata tattvavit pashyan shrinvan sprishan jigran ashnan gachan swapan shvasan pralapan visrijan grinan unmishan nimishan api indriyanindriyarteshu vartanta iti dharayan. The Nishkama Karma Yogi, having knowledge of Atma and understanding that the senses alone are interacting with the sense objects, things, I am doing nothing at all. Senses are doing. Of course, Atma gives energy and decides about action, but that action is then made by the senses. Like if that excavator, the driver is inside and he's only pressing buttons and the joystick is moving, but the actual touch with the earth is by that shuffle. The driver has no direct contact with the earth. That machine is doing that. Like that, one who, by Nishkama Karma Yoga, purified his heart and realized, I am Atma. I am not this material body or mind. He sees, I am not doing these things. Body is doing. Contacting material objects. But this is only one part. Actually, in later, In 18th chapter, Krishna further clarifies that there are 5 factors of action in this world. The Paramatma, Jiva, the senses, 3 gunas, and activity. And in Vedanta Sutra, it is very clearly explained that how Jiva is the actor in the sense of giving energy and deciding, and how this cannot be done by Prakriti itself. It is inert, material, dead thing. They are only instrument. But the Jiva also cannot act unless Paramatma gives energy. And Paramatma gives the result. So all 5 factors are there. Krishna says in Gita, and they are more clearly explained. You will find in Upanishads and Vedanta Sutra how this is going on. But here, in one aspect only, it is given that there is a difference between material body and mind and Atma. Only material body is in contact with objects, material objects, never Atma. So he thinks, one who is realized that I'm Atma, I'm doing nothing at all, while seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, going, sleeping, breathing, speaking, excreting, through genital or anus, receiving and opening and closing the eyes. So he's doing all these things, they're going on. But he knows, I am not doing this. I'm not directly in contact with material objects and material activities. All my senses perform activities for themselves, but I am a pure Atma. I do not perform these actions. One should accept all objects with this intelligence. Even though this instruction in Gita is apt for a jnani, is meant for a jnani, because by Nishkama Karma Yoga, he will purify his heart to that extent that he becomes qualified for jnana, to understand clearly understand what is the difference between matter and spirit. That is why in Raya Ramananda Sambat, Mahaprabhu asked what is the goal of life and how to attain. So first, Raya Ramananda said to do Varna Ashram Dharma. By that Vishnu is pleased. Then Mahaprabhu said, say further, this is external. Then he said, to perform these Varna Ashram activities, karma, without desire, Nishkama, means offering the fruits of actions to Supreme Lord. Then Mahaprabhu said, this is also external, you tell further. Then he said, to give up karma, karma tyak. When is karma tyak possible? Not externally you stop working. But when you realize that you are not triguna, but you are spirit, at that time, Jnani, he will also do all these activities. He will also perform his duties, everything he will do. But not with identification with that. He's not thinking, I am Brahmin, I am Kshatriya, I am this. No, I am spiritual. This is material body. And they're doing activities with a view to become in Satyaguna, and those prescription by Shastra, Brahmacharya, control of senses, all this, with a view to attain liberation. So here Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that this, what Krishna told in Gita, in this case, is meant for a jnani. So even though this instruction is apt for a jnani, its essence can be favorable for a devotee also. The essence of this. How? Keeping in mind the instruction at the end of the Gita to surrender to Krishna, if one takes all the objects of the senses as the mercy of the Lord, while rejecting the angas of karma and jnana, devotees, they don't do karma because they don't identify with Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, all this. They know I am eternal servant of Krishna. And also they are rejecting jnana. They are not following those austerities as jnanis do, restricting all senses and doing tapasya and brahmacharya and controlling senses and meditation and study of those Vedic scriptures of Gyan. They don't do this. They take all the objects of the senses as mercy of Krishna, as prasad of Krishna. Because they are already in the path of surrender to Krishna, as is conclusion of Gita. So they take all the objects of the senses as the mercy of the Lord, while rejecting the angas of karma and jnana. One attains pure bhakti yoga. Thus, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami says, Anasaktasya Vishayan Yatharham Upayunjata Nirbandha Krishna Sambandha Yuktam Vairagya Muchyate. The vairagya of that person who employs objects suitable for devotional development while remaining detached from them is said to be suitable for bhakti, that type of vairagya. The objects should be persistently related to Krishna. This is Yukta Vairagya. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Raghunath Das Goswami. At first, he said, no, you cannot renounce. You don't become mad and you don't outwardly show that you are renounced falsely. False display. You go to your house and practice this. You accept all those objects and activities which are necessary without attachment. Means you are not identifying with that because you know you are spiritual and you belong to Krishna. But you have to maintain your body in order to engage that body in the service of Krishna. So as much as necessary, like Prabhupada yesterday we heard, somehow you live in this world, but with this object of worshipping Supreme Lord. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, also in 8th limb of devotion, it is one should not accept too much or too less material objects. Otherwise, that will disturb bhajan. If too much, then you will want to enjoy and you will have worries how to preserve all it. If too less, then also you will be disturbed because we are not liberated soul, we are in this body. So you have to maintain body with a view to engage in the service of Krishna and appropriately and without attachment. Always you have that realization, that knowledge that this is matter and this is spirit and Supreme Spirit Krishna, I am his eternal servant, so everything belongs to him, everything should be used for him. Devotees, they never misidentify with body or mind, though they take care of body and mind and though they serve Krishna with their body and mind. But they know I am soul, eternal servant of Krishna. So that kind of realization, if someone has and serves Krishna in this world, with all the articles and everything, and with this body, that is called Yukta Vairagya, and this is appropriate for devotees. Then, further in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami explains another Prapanchikataya buddhya hari sambandhi vastuna mumukshubhih parityago vairagyam falgu katyate. Rejection of things related to the Lord by persons desiring liberation who think that these things are simply material objects is called useless vairagya or falgu vairagya, false vairagya. Those who are jnanis, they think this is all material and that spirit is only truth and I am that spirit and I have to be detached from everything material, then I will be liberated, then there is no more problem. So with this kind of conception, they also reject, like for example, Tulsi. Tulsi is appearing in this world but is not material. Or Krishna's Prasad, deity of Krishna, Guru, Vaishnava, Bhagavatam, they're all transcendental objects. Harinam, transcendental objects. By inconceivable potency of Krishna, they appear in this world, but they are transcendental. But Jnanis, they don't understand this, so they reject this also as material. So that is called Falgu Vairagya. It is not appropriate for devotees. It is only like rejecting everything. Neti, neti, neti. Rejecting everything. I remember that Mayavadi who came here, then I told him I wanted to give him one ladu which I had from India, from some prasad, some temple, Krishna, maybe Radha Damodar, I don't know, I don't remember, but one genuine prasad, but sweet like ladu. And I gave him, and he said, no, I am not eating foods in Rajoguna. Then I said, no, this is not Rajoguna, it is prasad. But he could not accept, because practicing that Vairagya, they think what is bitter is in this guna, what is sweet is in this guna. They're all, everything calculating with material. They cannot understand that transcendental also can be there in that form. So he took very little, I think, at the end, because he's sattvic life, so he's not taking. That is called Falgu Vairagya. Jnanis, Mayavadis, they practice that. We are chanting that Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Salpa Punya Vatamarajan Vishwasvamya Vijayate. One who has very little sukriti or lack of sukriti, he cannot have faith in Mahaprasad, is transcendental. Govinda, and name of Supreme Lord, Nama Brahmani, Vaishnava, they are all transcendental. Bhagavatam, Tulsi. And that garland which is offered to Krishna, that also becomes transcendental prasad. Uddhava said there in Bhagavatam, he said, I'm not afraid of Maya, because just by wearing your remnants, the garland, cloth, your remnants, we are free from Maya. We can be free from Maya. What I'm afraid of is separation from you. That I cannot tolerate. But Maya, no problem. Just by your remnants, accepting prasad, your food remnants, garland remnant, that flower offered to his lotus seed remnant, that we can conquer Maya easily. So they are not material objects. Also, Srila Sridhar Maharaj explained, we pick one flower like material, and then we offer to Krishna's lotus feet with some sandalwood paste, offer, and then when we take prasadi, then we put that flower on our head. Because now it is offered. It is worshipable, respectful. Before, as like from above, we can take. But then, like that, Srila Sridhar Maharaj explained, because he's a realized soul. He said, like that, those jivas who are having faith in Krishna, then Guru will offer them for the service of Krishna by initiation. After that, Guru will also have different kind of respect for that disciple. He will not see him as object of enjoyment or property or anything. He will see him as worshipable because he is a servant of Krishna. He has been offered to Krishna like that flower. So he will have respect for disciple. as a Vaishnava. I saw this in Gurudev practically. So the meaning of these verses is taught in the word Atyahara in Upadeshamrita. The purport is that if one accepts material objects as objects of enjoyment, it becomes Atyahara. But if one accepts objects as the mercy of the Lord, using them as necessary in a way favorable for bhakti, it is not Atyahara. If you accept with enjoying spirit, this is mine for my enjoyment, then it will be Atyahara. And not only food, everything, sound, sight, touch, everything. Our Gurudev also in Russia, I heard, when he was explaining Upadeshamrita, only 2 verses, I think, because no time in one place. So that time he explained this point, that not only eating, all senses consuming these things, that is all Atyahara. But if one accepts as mercy of the Lord and using them as necessary in a way favorable, it is not Atyahara. When one accepts with sincerity objects of the senses as mercy of the Lord, it becomes Yuktahara, regulated acceptance of objects within bhakti. Yuktahara. Krishna says Yuktahara Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu. Everything appropriate. Sleeping also, devotees, when they sleep, it is also for the service of Krishna. Because this body, by nature, it needs rest, and they are sleeping so that next day they can engage their body in the service of Krishna. But not sleeping too much for enjoyment, not too less, because then you will be weak and your mind will not work properly. Then how you will serve Krishna? So taking rest also is devotion. Many, they cannot understand this. Our Gurudev also played this pastime. When? Means not, but in relation to this, I remembered now. When our Gurudev was new to the mat, and always it is said in Harikatha, the chanting of Harinam, that is the Kali Yuga Dharma. So that is main importance, and loudly you have to chant. That is all the time encouraged, praised and instructed. So Gurudev, when they were in some, maybe in the mat or some place, then there were many in same room sleeping. So Gurudev, he said, I woke up very early in the morning first, and I sat and I started chanting Mahamantra loudly, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Then Parangurudev heard him, and Parangurudev came there. What you are doing? Chanting loudly Harinam. This is. Then Parangurudev said, you should not do loudly in this circumstance. You should not disturb other devotees. You are thinking, I'm doing great bhajan, I'm great devotee. I woke up very early, I'm loudly chanting, I'm great devotee. But you don't know that these Vaishnavas, by sleeping, they are doing better bhajan than you. Here loudly chanting. They are doing better bhajan than you. How? Because they are sleeping for Krishna. And they are more dedicated. Their level of devotion is more advanced because Gurudev was new at that time, of course, playing the pastime of sadhaka. Like senior, some devotees, they are sleeping. By sleeping, they are doing better bhajan than you here showing how great bhajan I'm doing. So that we have to understand. Parangurudev said. Regulated acceptance of objects within bhakti is this all. Eating, sleeping, Everything devotees, whatever they are doing, even bathing, everything they are doing for the service of Krishna. That is why it is said, those who are fully surrendered, 24 hours in a day they are serving Krishna, because all their activities are meant for the service of Krishna. Going to market, earning money, begging, bathing, sleeping, walking, driving, whatever. Everything is ultimate target. Everything will be used for the service of Krishna. By that, Yukta Vairagya is easily accomplished. Mahaprabhu instructed that one should use objects without attachment, means without identifying with them, or thinking this is mine or for me. Use objects without attachment and chant Krishna's name. One should not endeavor for better and better foods and clothing, etc. One should accept the pure prasad of the Lord, pure objects attained with little effort. It's not said no effort. It is in the case of Madhavendra Puri that is possible, because his devotion is so high, he did not endeavor even to get any food. If someone will give, he will accept. Means he saw, if Krishna will be merciful, someone will give me. They may be instrumental, but actually Krishna is giver. So Madhavendra Puri's devotion was so high, he was not disturbed by any of these body things, always drinking only Krishna prema, and he was having that vow, I will not beg. If Krishna wants me to keep this body, then he will send something. And in this way he was surviving. He was not totally not thinking about food, nothing. He was only always thinking, chanting and remembering Krishna. And when someone brought something to him, he would take, okay, it is Krishna's mercy, so to keep the body and going on with bhajan. But for others, some effort is necessary, and yes, it will Bhaktivinoda Thakura say, it is different for householders and renowned saints what kind of effort, and that is why Bhaktivinoda Thakura said that we should give our effort to maintain utilizing Varna, Ashram, Dharma, because then it will be more easy with less problems. Little effort, not like huge projects and so much things, and then there is no time to think of Krishna, no time to chant, nothing. Once Gurudev told me in Slovenia, Prahlad Maharaj said, some time should be given for this also, sometime. Not like whole day as some think or do, whole day and whole night, also during the night they are dreaming money, money, money all the time. That Gurudev did not approve. But also like no effort, that is also not for that stage. So he said, Prahlad Maharaj said, some time should be given for this also. For maintenance, working for maintenance. This is the rule of devotee for maintaining his life. One should take what is necessary. Taking less or more will not bring good results. Taking too much, the sadhaka will fall under the control of material taste and lose the spiritual goal. If he does not accept a suitable amount, he will not be able to maintain his body, which is necessary for performing bhajan. Maintaining the body is necessary for performing bhajan. Because we are not now in our Siddha Deho, in Golok Vrindavan. We have this body and belongs to Krishna. And also, as Bharati Maharaj told me, if there is some problem with the body, like disease, or you are hungry, or like that will disturb you, because you are misidentifying. So that will disturb you, and that will take away your attention. If you are suffering too much or lack of hunger, then you will not chant very attentively, or you will not even be able to chant Harinam. So maintaining the body is in this way is necessary for performing bhajan on our stage. But those gopis who are in Golok Vrindavan, they are not doing this job, and their even toilet is not necessary in these things. But because we have this body, we have to do all these things and maintain. The instruction in the first verse to tolerate the urges of the tongue and stomach means that a materialistic person is extremely excited by foods when he is greedy for taste and suffering from hunger and is eager to eat them, foods. So urges of the tongue means he's very excited. Greedy for taste. I will get this taste, this rasgula or whatever one likes according to likes and dislikes. He becomes very greedy, and he works for that very hard. And suffering from hunger and is eager to eat them. Yes, urge of tongue and stomach. Stomach wants to eat, and tongue wants to enjoy taste. That is a material urge. When such an urge arises, it should be subdued by cultivating bhakti. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, by chanting Harinam and Sadhu Sangha, means that urge. But that urge, as we heard, can be subdued by cultivating bhakti. Eating only prasad, eating as much as necessary for devotion, fasting on Ekadashi, Janmashtami, we heard how everything, and then that urge will be automatically controlled if we engage in bhakti. Giving up atyahara mentioned in the second verse is a constant rule for sadhaka of bhakti. The first rule for control is occasional, and the second is constant. First rule to control these urges is occasional, because when that urge arises, that time you have to subdue it by doing devotion. But this atyahara, for atyahara in the second verse, it is constant rule. Constant rule means devotee should always give up atyahara, means this inappropriate acceptance of the sense objects, thinking with attachment, taking it is mine, it is for me, for my enjoyment, that attachment, and too much or too less, not accepting it as mercy of Krishna and as much as necessary for devotion. So atyahara should be given by devotees, should be given up by devotees at all time. And urges, when they arise, you have to subdue, and also gradually you will come to that level of purity and engagement in that is engagement in the service of Krishna, that these urges to enjoy taste and all this will not arise anymore at all. In beginner sadhakas, they will constantly arise. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said there. But for one, so he cannot give up house, become a monk, because he will be disturbed by these urges. Only one who already controlled all these urges by devotion, he can accept renounced order. Not everyone. So when one is already on that level of devotion, then urges will not arise. So to subdue them was only occasional at that stage. But those devotees who already controlled all urges, they are not arising, for them constant rule is still that to give up atyahara. Of course, it will be natural for them, but it always applies to all stages as long as you are in this body. Up to final liberation, you have to practice Jukta Vairagya in this world. There is another point on this subject. All instructions have two types of functions in relation to the householder and to the renunciate. The householder can gather for maintaining his family, spending money which is attained and gathered by dharmic means, according to Varna Ashram Dharma, or honest means and suitable to your nature. He can pass his life serving the Lord and the devotees, maintaining his family and serving guests. All this he can spend the money. He has to earn it by honest means, dharmic means, and then he can spend it for serving the Lord, devotees, maintaining his family, and serving guests. Though having qualification for gathering and earning, or right to do so, adhikar, if the householder attempts to gather extra wealth, he will create an obstacle to practicing bhakti and to attaining Krishna's mercy. Without doubt, gathering extra and earning extra is atyahara. It will disturb your burden. One time, our god brother came to Gurudev and he said, Gurudev, you please bless me that I will earn a lot of money. Then I can make a big festivals for Vaishnavas. Then Guru said, there is no any such scriptural injunction or sadhana for this. How I can bless you for this? Then he said, but no, I will serve the Vaishnavas. Then Guru said, but there is no any such instruction in Shastra. If someone has extra money, naturally by past karma or rich parents or something, if he has extra money without effort, then he can spend for the service of Vaishnavas like this. But there is no injunction that you will give effort to earn huge money so that you can do this. Then that devotee said, but it will please me very much. Then Gurudev explained, bhakti is not pleasing ourselves. Bhakti is pleasing Supreme Lord and devotees. There is no any such instruction in Shastra that if you have like little or enough money, that now you should give extra effort to earn extra money so that you can do festivals. No. And also target is wrong. It is for your satisfaction. He himself said, it will please me very much. So Gurudev said, if there is extra money you give, if not, instruction is only to earn as much as necessary for your devotion. If there is extra, then you can give. And Gurudev gave some examples, some rich persons, how they gave. but not extra earning after. And then Gurudev also gave example of Srivas Pandit about the tree clapping and all this. So always target should be correct. The renounce, so this is for householder. He should earn, and he has right to earn and to maintain, but should not earn or gather extra, which is not necessary for his devotion. Then the renunciate does not accumulate at all. If he is not satisfied with what he begs every day, daily he will have to beg, and what he will get. If he's not satisfied, like he will collect more and more, keep in bank account. Nowadays you will find some renunciates keeping in bank account large money. That is not renunciate. Renunciate has to beg, and what he gets is by the mercy of Krishna. With that he should be satisfied. If he's not satisfied with what he begs every day, he is subject to default of atyahara. For householder, if he earns extra and accumulates extra, it is atyahara. But for renunciate, any accumulation is atyahara, automatically, immediately. If he enjoys more than necessary after attaining nice objects, it is default of atyahara. Like he will be invited in some household for preaching, and there he will attain nice objects and much. So he will think, oh, let me take more. That will also be atyahara. Even if it is offered, still he should take only as much as necessary for his bhajan. I saw this in Gurudev. Also, like in a rich house like this, they will give big bed. Gurudev will accept that to take rest, but not like whole and with the enjoying spirit, but only as much as necessary for his service of Krishna, not more than that. Anything, even if offered. And also they have no taste for enjoyment, but those who are practicing renunciates, they should be careful when they are preaching. If more is offered, they should never use more than necessary for their own need. They may take for the service of mat or for parikrama or for festivals like this. For that they can accumulate even bank account or anything, but not for personal use. For the service of Vaishnava they can keep to engage. But if they will use anything extra for themselves, it will be atyahara. Their bhakti will be destroyed. Thus, when both the householder and the renunciate, deliberating in this way, worship Krishna while giving up atyahara, over collecting, over consuming, over gathering, all this, of anything, and with a wrong mentality. So when they will worship Krishna while giving up atyahara, they will attain the mercy of Krishna. They will get his eternal service. So this was the end of first essay about atyahara. Tomorrow we will hear about prayas, that over-endeavor for things unnecessary for devotion. So tomorrow we will hear